Black and gold fans, college football fans, welcome back or welcome in to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, where we examine, discuss, celebrate, and honor all things college football across the entire college football landscape, but with a very special emphasis on our beloved black and gold squads of the Missouri Tigers and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Welcome back, guys. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks. It's great to be with you here on a Thursday late morning here in the Show Me State. And as you can tell by me wearing my game day hair, that it is preview and picks day. That is right. This is my week 10 preview and picks episode for the upcoming weekend. Can't wait to get to that. And it's great to be here with you. And what a great week 10 we have on deck. I am telling you, it's going to be action-packed, Pee-wee, like Mickey from Pee-wee's Big Adventure would say. This weekend, both of our black and golds are in action. Hopefully they can continue their success from last weekend. Hopefully they can keep that momentum building. Missouri, they host a very tough Kentucky team at Como here at 11 o'clock, I believe is the kickoff local time. Kentucky coming off a very, very tough loss at Tennessee. Did not look competitive at all. While Iowa hits the road, takes their talents to West Lafayette against their arch nemesis, Coach Jeff Brom and the Purdue Boilermakers. But also, it'll be a little bit of a reunion between Iowa and not one, but two previous Iowa wide receivers who were on the roster last season, Tyrone Tracy Jr. and Mr. Do-It-All, Mr. Excitement. One of my favorite players, definitely one of my favorite names, Mr. Charlie Jones. So it's going to be a great weekend for our black and golds as well. But before I say any more, please, if you like the channel, if you're here, click that subscribe button. We need more subscribers. Just like you, all of you college football fans are welcome. This is a safe haven for everything college football. You don't have to be a black and gold fan to enjoy because, hey, after all, no one's perfect. Not going to hold it against you. But I always welcome and encourage all participation, any comments from all of you college football crazies and fanatics. You are more than welcome here. And I always say, if this is your first time on the channel, that your comments are what help drive this channel. If you've been with me before and you've commented, chances are you have received a very personal response from yours truly on an individual status. I always try to get back to these comments very promptly. Sometimes it might take me a little bit sooner than later. I mean, I am a busy guy after all. I got a legitimate day job, 2 children, and a wife. I try to be the best husband and father that I can be. I almost said wife there as well. So I will get back to you. You are all welcomed here. And let's get the word out there. Let's find more college football fans just like you. Tell your fellow college football fans, your colleagues, co-workers, students, family members to check out the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. So please subscribe, like, share, and comment the hell out of this episode in response to what I present to you. And I swear to you, I am as objective as possible. I am not a Homer Simpson. I love my Iowa Hawkeyes, obviously. But first and foremost, I am a college football fan by the people and for the people. And it is an absolute pleasure for me to be here with you on the weekly, sharing, allowing me to share with you my continuous and constant love and passion of all things college football. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, and thank you for all you've done for the channel, your support, and your time. So what's on the docket for today? I've got 3 segments coming your way this afternoon. Well, I should say morning, but it will be afternoon by the time you see this. First of all, Tuesday night, a couple evenings ago, we had the initial college football playoff rankings were released by the playoff committee. I'm going to go ahead and let you know the top 6 in case you've missed those. And then after that, I'm going to give you my updated Heisman Trophy list. I do have a Heisman Trophy short list, but I also will give you a few other potential candidates who could get back on my ballot, the ballot that I would be providing today if I was a voting member of the Heisman Trophy Committee. And then everybody's favorite segment, I'll move into my Week 10 preview and picks simultaneously. And I am very, very glad, and it brings me much pleasure to have some guest pickers on board yet again this week. And this is going to be an historic first on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Not just 1 or 2 guest pickers. I mean, I've had couples on here before, 2 people who pick as 1, but I have never had a household here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog to pick. That's right, the Donovans, a father, mother, and a son, or if you want to say husband, wife, and son, they provided their picks together as a household, so that'll be a first here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, and that'll go towards the 2nd annual guest picker tournament, which will actually take place next week. They are the final submittee as far as for seeding for the guest picker tournament, which will kick off next week in week 11. So you definitely want to stay tuned for those previews and picks. Once again, subscribe to the channel, like, share, comment. So let's go ahead and move into my first segment. So the initial college football rankings were released on Tuesday night. And in case you missed it, here is a rundown of as of today, would be the 4 participants and the first 2 teams out. Let's go ahead and start with number 6. The second team out would be the Alabama Crimson Tide from the SEC. Sit there currently 7-1 maybe. They have the 1 loss at Tennessee. The number 1 seed, a team that I said in my playoff rankings that I made prior to Tuesday evening, they were the number 1 team to me, and they are via the committee. The number 1 seed as of today is the Tennessee Volunteers from the SEC. The second team out in the 5 hole is the Michigan Wolverines, who sit there undefeated out of the Big Ten. The number 2 seed via the committee was spelled T-H-E, the Ohio State Buckeyes, who are also undefeated, representing the Big Ten Conference. The 4th seed would be to undefeated ACC team, the Clemson Tigers, are in the 4 slot. So the final slot via the committee in the 3 hole, the 3 seed, is the defending national champions, the Georgia Bulldogs from the SEC. So hearing those, if this is the first time you've heard that, who is missing? Yes, that's right. TCU, who right now is the leader in the clubhouse to me, which the Big 12, to me anyway, my opinion, hands down to me is the deepest, most competitive conference this year in the nation. They are on top of the Big 12 looking down on everybody else, but they are missing from the initial top 6 from the playoff committee. So that is the main travesty that I've expressed. And if you missed that, last night, kind of late, if you haven't seen it, check it out. I did do a reaction in response to the initial college football rankings. Feel free to check it out if you haven't yet. I don't think you'll like it. I know you'll love it, so check it out. And remember to comment to that episode as well. So one thing I'm going to say, then we'll move on, that here's your top 6 for now. I know some of you are disappointed down there in Fort Worth, you TCU fans. But the flip side of that, you fans in Knoxville, there on Rocky Top, are absolutely elated. And then you fans down there in Tuscaloosa, because your team's sitting there in the 6th hole, sitting there still pretty at this point, maybe sighing a little bit of relief there that they are still well within striking distance. So I'm going to remind you guys, don't get too bent out of shape about these initial playoff rankings, because in the long term, the long haul, they aren't going to matter diddly squat. Things will still be solved and taken care of on the field of play as it should be. And for example, we've got two big matchups this weekend that are definitely going to result in a lot of movement from that top 10, even within the top 4 potentially this upcoming weekend, based on which team either is victorious or falls in defeat. So this will all be taken care of. Don't get too bent out of shape. It's not worth it quite yet. So that is the top 6 of the initial college football playoff rankings. Now let's move into my Heisman Trophy candidate shortlist. I last shared these with you guys about 2 weeks ago at the conclusion of week 7, which is, or I should say was, past tense, proper English there. Thank you. Past tense, week 7 was the halfway point of the current college football season. So it has been a couple weeks since I've shared these with you. And there is no change to my 4 candidates on my short list. These are the guys that, if it was to happen today, these 4 cats would get my vote to represent and show up in NYC with a chance to hoist the Heisman Trophy coveted award. So, on my Heisman Trophy shortlist, in alphabetical order, Michigan running back Blake Corum continues to show up and show out. Next, I have TCU quarterback Max Duggan, who continues to be the composer of what I believe is the nation's most balanced offense, and a team that to me has the best resume overall. I mean, they have played and defeated not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 AP top 25 ranked teams. And guess what? All 4 of those were in consecutive weeks. So I think quarterback Max Duggan absolutely deserves to be a Heisman Trophy finalist at this point. Next, I've got Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker. Enough said. Right now via Vegas and Atlantic City, he seems to be the Heisman Trophy frontrunner. And if I had to cast a ballot for one of these 4, I would absolutely vote that direction as well for quarterback Hendon Hooker. And my last individual on my short list as of today, post week 9, would be Ohio State quarterback CJ Stroud. I mean, leads probably one of, if not, to me, the best offense overall in the nation. I mean, and it's really scary just how much better this offense could be, because the vast majority of these weeks, guys, they have not been 100% full strength. They've had playmakers be out with injury, so it's scary to think about how much even better this offense could look. Now, I do have 3 individuals who right now are on the outside looking in, but either their stock is currently rising or it's pretty steady. These 3 individuals could absolutely find themselves on my Heisman Trophy shortlist, but I think they just have a little bit more to prove, or the 4 ahead of them, vice versa. If they take a tumble or 2 via losses or injury, they could find themselves being replaced by one of these 3. And I've got to go, first of all, in alphabetical order, Oregon quarterback Bo Nix, the Auburn transfer. I mean, his Heisman Trophy stock continues to trend and rise after each and every week. That Oregon team is playing absolutely lights out. I think right now they are the best team in the very competitive Pac-12, where you have 4 teams that potentially could be playoff contenders, maybe even a 5th when you add in Oregon State, who sits there at 6-2 and ranked in the initial playoff rankings. So I've got Oregon quarterback Bo Nix, USC quarterback Caleb Williams, who is another composer of a great offense. We know what that USC offense can do, can almost score at will, name their score on you. So they continue to do that. make a run and capture the Pac-12 title. Caleb Williams could also get himself back on the Heisman shortlist. And the last but definitely not least, the reigning Heisman Trophy award winner is Alabama quarterback Bryce Young. I mean, he did lose that game straight up to my Heisman Trophy frontrunner, Hendon Hooker, but also Bryce did miss a game. That's primarily why I have him just slightly on the outside looking in. But during that Tennessee game, guys, the guy played absolutely phenomenal. I mean, his ability to escape, make plays happen, extend plays, I mean, just looked absolutely the part in defeat. So either one of those three cats could find themselves on my short list if things happen to go their way a little bit better the rest of the season. So that's it. That's my Heisman Trophy candidate shortlist update. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think about that shortlist. Is there maybe potentially a candidate that I've left out? Maybe you feel like my four should not be there. Who should those, what should that Heisman Trophy shortlist be to some of you, the college football family? Let me know what you think. Please comment. I always ask and encourage your comments, guys, and your participation. So now we're going to move into my favorite segment each and every week, the upcoming week's preview and picks. And that is going to be my Week 10 preview and picks for the upcoming week of college football. If this is your first time on the channel, let me break this down how this is going to work for you. Each and every week, I always pick 15 games that I pick. Now, most of them are games that you know about, that you're aware of, the big time on the radar games. But some of them that I choose are more of your off the radar kind of games that still really matter. It could be potentially between two bottom feeders. It could be two rivals that are renewed. Games that still are big that I definitely want to give a little bit of attention to. And within those 15 games, I always have 6 specialty games. And those will be, I always have one academy game of the week, which will include a team either from Army, Air Force, or Navy as a salute to the men and women of the United States military, our armed forces, as a way to say thank you for all that you do. Then I will always have a non-Power 5 matchup of the week with the best game in my mind of 2 teams at the non-Power 5 conference level. I will always have an FCS matchup of the week, and this week I believe it's a top 6 matchup, a big-time game at the FBS level of Division I college football. Whenever our beloved Black and Golds play, I will always pick the Missouri and Iowa games, and they both play this week. And I always will have my specialty Premier Spotlight game of the week, which to me is the biggest game of each and every week. So that's how this plays out here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. And last week I went 10-5, so not a bad week for yours truly. Could have been better, could have been way worse. So for the season, guys, currently I am 86-49, good for a 64% correct rate, and that's pretty much, trending to my goal. Before the season started, guys, I shared with you that I set myself a goal. By the end of the regular season, I want to be 70% or better as far as picking these games straight up. And after last week, I did slightly improve to 64%. So I'm definitely trending the right direction. I need a couple more good weeks to keep going towards eclipsing and reaching that 70% mark. I've got a few weeks left, but time is going to start getting a little bit short here, guys. But I definitely think that I can do it. I'm definitely ahead of last year's pace, where I was last year when I set the same goal for myself. So that's where I am currently with my goal overall in the season. I'm doing okay. Last week I had a guest picker, the boss. No, not Bruce Springsteen, and not my wife. She is the boss. But my boss, Sam, of the company I work for, stepped to the plate, and Sam had himself a pretty good week. He went 11-4 overall, and currently he is tied in the top spot with Brett and Charlie. All three of those individuals went 11-4. Next were my kids, who went 10-5. My brother Anthony, Caleb and Amy, my guest picker couple, that dynamic duo, they're tied. They both went 8-7. And bringing up the rear is my boy, my coworker Brad, who went 7-8. And this week, as I mentioned in the opening, it brings me much joy to have an historic episode here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. For the first time ever, I have a guest picker household, the Donovan family. They step up to the plate to see how they do. They are my last entry for the upcoming guest picker tournament, which that starts next week, as I mentioned. So how that's going to work out, the top 6 will move on. So the 2 worst pickers will be eliminated. Then after that, the top 2 seeds will have a first round bye. And then we're going to get it on each and every week. 2 will face off. The winner moves on, and the loser is eliminated. Hit the showers, hit the bus, get on home. So that starts next week, so you definitely want to pay attention to that. So best of luck to the Donovan household. Let's see how you do. And just an FYI, guys, the Donovans are great friends of mine and my family. Not really big college football fans, but still, it's great that they were able to join me and give me their picks. I got it right here, and best of luck to you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and get to it, shall we? And still, as always, subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know what you think. My first game, which is a Friday night game, tomorrow night, I got to give some props to this team. UMass, that's right, the Minutemen, travel to the UConn Huskies under first-year coach Jim Mora Jr. Last week, a big-time victory defeating Boston College. Now they currently sit at 4 wins, and with the 5th win, UConn is knocking on the door of getting bowl eligible, guys, in his first year. I mean, back from the depths of college football, one of the great kind of unknown stories about this college football season is the rise of the UConn Huskies out of college football purgatory. So let's see what we think about this game. And I'll be watching this game. I can't wait to watch this game. It's big time stakes, even though these are 2 teams that aren't going to be contenders for any titles. There's just a lot at stake, especially for UConn. They've been the laughingstock of college football for so long, but unfortunately, my Iowa Hawkeyes, well, more specifically, the Iowa offense is this year's running joke in college football. I'm going to be the first to admit that. They are, and deservedly so. So let's see how this team, how we got this going. The Donovans, it's always guess first. They like the Huskies of UConn to get it done. Me, how can I pick against them? I am also on the UConn Huskies train. Go Huskies, get to that 6th win, become bowl eligible. And when I look at their schedule after this game, if they win this game against UMass, they're going to have more than a puncher's chance to get that 6th win, guys. I mean, a couple tough games, but winnable games as well. Next, my next matchup, kind of a matchup in the SEC of teams that are cellar dwellers. This is, to me, kind of the underperformance bowl. Okay, I'm talking Florida under first-year coach Billy Napier. They travel to College Station to take on college football's biggest fraud, Coach Jimbo Fisher and his Texas A&M Aggies, a team that was ranked 6th in the preseason polls of college football. And here they are currently sub 500 losing record. And this is a big game because I vastly believe that the loser of this game is not going to become bowl eligible, guys. It's going to be a uphill climb for the loser. I mean, both of these teams ultimately may not get bowl eligible. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and sugarcoat that. but the loser is definitely going to be in Dire Straits. One of my favorite musical bands as well, very underrated, unknown band, Dire Straits. Check them out, by the way. So let's see how we pick this game going. The Donovans, they've got a good feeling about Jimbo Fisher. That team is looking a little less pedestrian these days. I mean, they are looking a little bit better from an effort side and execution. They still got a long way to go, but the Donovans, they're taking Texas A&M. And me, this is a tough game for me. I mean, I have to admit, this is one that I'm a little bit torn on, but I think at home, the 12th man will be well on display. I think both teams know what's at stake for the loser of this game and the winner, kind of vice versa there. So that being said, I'm also favoring and pulling for Texas A&M. That's who I think gets it done at home. If it was in the Swamp, I would go the other direction with Florida, but it's in Texas. I'm taking Texas A&M in this game as well. Next matchup, kind of the cellar dweller battle within the Big 12. Now, yes, even though the Big 12, to me, once again, is the deepest, most competitive conference in college football this year. But these are the two teams that are currently at the bottom. West Virginia, the Mountaineers travel to Ames to take on the Iowa State Cyclones. So Iowa State is still looking for their first win within the Big 12 conference. West Virginia got a big win a couple weeks ago. They knocked off Baylor. Very, very excellent win for the Mountaineers. Let's see if that momentum continues for them. The Donovans, they're all about the great state of Iowa. They're taking the Clones. They like Iowa State at home. Me, I just think that Iowa State is due for a victory. They have been so close this season, but they continue to have breakdown after breakdown on special teams. I mean, the kicking game specifically for the Cyclones is absolutely horrendous. That's really been a huge, huge hurdle for them this year. I like Coach Neil Brown of West Virginia. I think he's earned himself another season. I know he came into the year on the hot seat, but I just don't think they have enough to get it done. I'm also taking Iowa State in Ames to get it done, so we agree on that game as well. Next game, big time tilt in the Big 12. We're staying in the Big 12. Number 24, Texas. And once again, all of these rankings are reference the college football playoff rankings, not the AP poll. I should have maybe said that earlier. So number 24, Texas, who to me, I have no idea how the hell they're ranked, being 5-3. I mean, watch my episode yesterday and I'll explain to you more why. My reaction to the initial college football rankings episode. Check it out. Number 24, Texas travels to number 13, Kansas State, a team that absolutely is coming off that big-time shellacking, that coming out party, 48-0 over Oklahoma State, who entering the game was in the top 10. So here they are. I think they should be ranked a little bit higher myself. I think they're the best two-loss team in the nation. No offense to the LSU Tigers. So big game. Kansas State is looking to keep pace with TCU. TCU did defeat the Wildcats head-to-head straight up a couple weeks ago down in Fort Worth, Texas. So K-State is still right there, one game behind TCU, looking to keep pace. But also, hey, if you finish one game behind them, you're also then going to meet up again in the Big 12 title game, which doesn't have divisions. Just the two best teams meet up in the title game. So let's see how we see this game playing out in Manhattan, Kansas, in the Little Big Apple. The Donovans, they love the Wildcats. I mean, they just love the color schemes. And how can you go against the Wildcats and Coach Klieman, Coach Klein? It's not Klein, but I like to say Klein from the Waterboy. How can you go against the Kansas State Wildcats? They're taking KSU. Me, I'm also with them. I'm all about Kansas State, a very, very underrated team. We're both taking Kansas State in this matchup. Next game, big time tilt of rivals renewed in the ACC, but unfortunately this season a little bit of muster has been lost because of their records and how they're looking on the field. I'm talking about Florida State. The Seminoles travel to their in-state rival, the Miami, the Hurricanes. They meet up once again, and I love watching these two teams and throw in Florida. That triumvirate of rivals in the Sunshine State, some great football, a lot of hatred between the teams and the fan bases, and those three teams do play a round-robin tournament, so to speak, every season. So let's see what we think about this matchup down in South Beach in Coral Gables. The Donovans, they like Renegade. They're taking the Florida State Seminoles. I think Miami will come out very, very motivated, inspired, but I can't unsee what I saw last week, guys. Yes, Miami got the victory at Virginia, another team in the ACC Coastal specifically, that is really struggling like most of that division is. They did win double overtime, but not a single touchdown was scored. Not just by Miami, guys, but by both teams. So a very Iowa victory sort of game. So I can't unsee that performance by Miami. So I'm taking Florida State. I'm also taking Renegade and the Seminoles. Next matchup, big time game, non-conference game, but a big time game for number 4 Clemson. I'm talking the Tigers travel to South Bend to take on Notre Dame under the lights in the presence of touchdown Jesus. And Clemson needs that marquee non-conference victory. It is what they're really lacking right now. I said if they end up getting one loss and still winning the ACC, I think this team is going to be left out. I think the committee should absolutely take a one-loss Big 12 or Pac-12 champion over a one-loss ACC Clemson champion team. They just should, based on the profile and just how bad the ACC Coastal Division is. So this is a big opportunity for Clemson, but an even bigger opportunity for Notre Dame to get a little bit of a talking point, recruiting point. It's a big-time showcase for them on NBC, on the Peacock. So let's see how we see this game playing out. The Donovans, they're fighters. They're taking the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in this game. I think Notre Dame, I'm this close to taking them. So that being said, I'm taking the Clemson Tigers on the road. I think they finally notch that very, very solid non-conference victory and keep their college football hopes alive. Because if they lose this game, guys, they could be already on the outside looking in with plenty of weeks to go in the college football season. So we have our first disagreement on this game. Next game is a huge tilt in the ACC. Number 21 Wake Forest travels to number 22 NC State to take on the Wolfpack. Demon Deacons, Wolfpack. Definitely, they just missed out on Halloween. What a matchup that would have been. Two of my favorite mascots in all of college football. And the loser of this game is out of the rankings, but at this point also out of the ACC Atlantic race. Both of these two teams have already lost straight up against Clemson. Both of them were very, very close competitive games. And man, the winner, they know what's at stake. I mean, these teams have to have this victory to stay in the race, but also potentially towards grabbing a New Year's 6 bowl berth from the committee. So let's see about this game. The Donovans, they like the Wolfpack of NC State. If Devin Leary was playing, the stud quarterback for NC State, he is now officially out for the year with injury. The third-string quarterback saved their tails. See, tails, Wolfpack. See what I did there? Saved their tails last week. Came off the bench with a 1-point victory over a bad Virginia Tech team at home there in Raleigh. I think Wake Forest is good. Quarterback Sam Hartman, one of my favorite players, under the radar. I'm taking the Demon Deacons to get it done, and then they will come out of this the second best team in the ACC Atlantic, just behind Clemson. So we have another disagreement there. Next game, big game in the Pac-12. It's a Friday night game. The late game, if you're up late, check it out. Nothing like Pac-12 after dark. Number 23 Oregon State travels to Seattle to take on the Washington Huskies. Oregon State, great story of the year. I'm not too surprised. They were one of my best bet picks to eclipse their over-under 6.5 wins. I put a little bit of money on the over. They need one more victory to give me a little payday. So very, very good, solid team. But they traveled to one of the most ruckus environments in all of the land. The fans there in Seattle are absolutely off the chain, off the hook. Let's see how we see this game playing out. The Donovans, they like the Huskies. There's a little bit of a pattern going here. They took the other Huskies. They're taking these Huskies as well, both UConn and Washington. Me, I love this Oregon State team. I think if there still were divisions, this is a team that I might have even picked to win the Pac-12 North. I know most of you are thinking, what? But I think they are that good, and they're showing it. But I think in this situation, a short week, they find themselves ranked for the first time in a long time. I think it's short-lived. I'm taking the Washington Huskies at home as well. Next game, my runner-up. This easily could have been my premier spotlight game of the week. It just missed out. The biggest game, usually year in, year out in the SEC, specifically in the SEC West. The rivalry, number 6 Alabama travels to number 10 LSU. Both teams, fittingly, are coming off a bye week. We'll see what happens. Me, quite frankly, I think LSU is a little bit too high ranked. That's just me. I think they should be more in the lower teens myself, 12 or 13. Not really a top 10 team yet. I think that should be Kansas State. Just my opinion. So how do we see this year's rivalry play out? The Donovans, they're all about death in Death Valley. They're taking the LSU Tigers in Baton Rouge to get it done. Me, what a tough decision this was. But bye week, which I know both teams are coming off the bye, like I said. But I've got to go with Alabama, the Crimson Tide, and the GOAT, Nick Saban. They find a way to win. Brian Kelly, keep up the good work. LSU fans, give him time. Trust the process. He'll win you national championships. He'll defeat Alabama, just not this week. I'm taking Alabama in this game, so we have another disagreement due myself and the Donovans. Now we get to my spotlight games of the week, starting with my Academy game of the week. And how fitting, this game determines this year's winner of the Commander-in-Chief Trophy, given to each and every year the best Academy school, because all three of them do match up amongst themselves year in, year out. Air Force takes on Army at a neutral site. The Air Force is looking to capture the Commander-in-Chief Trophy for the first time in 6 years. It's been away from Colorado Springs for far too long. Both of these two teams have gimmick offenses, the triple option. Both are fun to watch, but they usually always end up being very low scoring because of that. Let's see about this game. The Donovans, Mr. Donovan, he's a current pilot like myself, or I more was back in the day. So that being said, he's taken the Falcons of Air Force. Me, I'm very high on Air Force. I thought they had a chance to win the Mountain West, which they still could. They got to keep winning. This is a non-conference game, by the way, obviously. But because of that, I'm also taking the Falcons as well to bring home the Commander-in-Chief Trophy, hoist that guy at the end of the game. Next is my non-Power 5 matchup of the week. Big time matchup in the Lone Star State of Texas. I'm talking the Houston Cougars travel to SMU to take on the Mustangs, two of the premier non-Power 5 schools, both within the American Athletic. But Houston, I believe next year is the year. They are moving officially to the Big 12 Conference, so this will not be seen much longer. Let's see what we think about this game. The Donovans, they're all about the ponies. They're taking the Mustangs at home. Me, I'm all about quarterback Tanner Mordecai. Houston's really fallen on tough times. It was supposed to be a breakout season for Coach Holgorsen and the Cougars. They started the season ranked. They were the darling of the non-Power 5. Really were some people's potential dark horse playoff participant and contender. Not has been. I think that misery continues. I'm also taking SMU in this game as well. Next is my FCS Spotlight Game of the Week, a top 6 matchup in the Big Sky Conference. Two teams that I've already highlighted during this season of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog during my picks, but how could you not pick this game? I'm talking number 3, Sacramento State. The Hornets travel to number 6, Weber State, and to the winner goes first place at this point in the Big Sky Conference, an excellent conference at the FCS level. The Donovans, they're taking Sacramento State. Me, they're the Sacramento State Hornets, like I said, but do you happen to know what the mascot's name is? It's Herky. Just like our Iowa Hawkeye mascot, how could I go against Sacramento State? Give me Herky and the Hornets to bring it home. We both like Sacramento State in this matchup. Next, now it's time for the picks for our black and gold squads. Let's start off with Missouri. Kentucky, off of that tough, embarrassing loss at Tennessee, they come to Como, to Missouri to take on the Tigers. Can the Tigers continue this momentum? Back-to-back victories in the SEC 2 weeks ago. Were able to hold off Vanderbilt. Last week scored a very impressive road victory against a ranked opponent at South Carolina in the Battle of Columbia's. So can they maintain that? Can they keep this momentum going? This team looks like they have turned the corner. Still very, very young at key positions, specifically the skill positions, is the Missouri Tigers. There's going to be some mistakes. We know what Kentucky is going to do, guys. They're going to try to dominate and control the lines of scrimmage, control the pace of play, deny Missouri a couple of possessions here or there, grind it out, and try to drag them into a phone booth and just body blow them to death. Will Missouri take that bait, or will they play and dictate their terms? Let's see what we think. The Donovans, they just like the physicality. They're big, strong people. They're physical. They like Kentucky to get it done on the road at Missouri. Me, this is a tough call. I said beginning of the season on my bold predictions episode that this would be the game of the year for Missouri. I think this potentially could go as far as determining if they can reach bowl eligibility or even get to 7 wins, which then guarantees them a winning record. And what an accomplishment that would be for Coach Drink. I'm going with Missouri. That's right. I'm going against maybe what my mind's telling me, but I think if they make it 3 in a row, I'm taking Missouri in this game. Next is our Iowa Hawkeyes travel to Purdue to take on the Boiler Up, the Boilermakers. Jeff Brom has been our daddy. I mean, Purdue has won, 4 out of the last 5 matchups in this series? I mean, it's been so one-sided since Jeff Brom took over as the head coach at Purdue. He schemes well against our defense. He's got us figured out. Iowa looked very good last week, and thank goodness they did. They needed to, and plus, the Parks family, we were in attendance for the homecoming festivities. It was great to see Iowa put up 33 points. their biggest offensive output of the season, hands down their best complete game. Can they continue that? Can they build off of that? Or was it really simply fool's gold? More of a reflection potentially of the state of Northwestern, the Northwestern Wildcat program? This weekend will tell us. But I think Iowa does at least have a little more confidence moving forward. The offensive line finally looked the part. Will it be enough? Will that translate to a better team in West Lafayette? Let's see what we think. The Donovans, they're thinking upset. And plus, I didn't mention the weather is looking very, very nasty, guys. I just checked it before coming on. They're talking about rain potentially all morning. This is an 11 o'clock kickoff. So rain in the morning, then overcast, windy conditions there. 20 to 30 mile an hour winds, gusts over 40 potentially at times. They're expecting this. So that might slow down that aerial attack by Purdue, a team that is not going to run. They don't want to run. It's not in their DNA. 4th and inches, 3rd and inches, they're going to throw the ball. That being said, they like Iowa. That's right. The Donovans are taking the Hawkeyes to pull the upset. And me, I said this during my Iowa preview episode. Until Iowa can consistently beat these guys, I can never pick against them. I'm taking Purdue. I think Purdue is still the better team. They will, I think, still outscore Iowa. The defense will slow them down. But to beat Purdue, Iowa's got to score probably 28 to 30 points. Can they do that in back-to-back weeks? This week against the better defense, I just don't think they can. I'm taking Purdue on this one, so we have a disappointment there. And now, finally, the spotlight game of the week, guys. And what a matchup. Top 3 SEC East title potentially on the line, but not just that. Playoff implications because of how they're ranked. Wow, what a matchup we have here. Number 1, Tennessee, the Volunteers, travel down to play number 3, Georgia, between the hedges. They're in Athens. Cannot wait to watch this game. This is must-see TV. It's pace and space offense of Tennessee. I mean, clicking on all cylinders. I mean, they've got a 10-cylinder and an 8-cylinder head. I mean, their offense against a stout, physical, control the game type Georgia team that is going to try to just out-physical them, wear them down, and slow them down. I mean, what a game. There's so many things that I could say about this game. Everything on the line. Like I said, SEC East, SEC title, playoff. It all hangs in the balance in this game potentially. So let's see what we think. The Donovans, they love their 4-legged friends. They've got 3 of their own, 3 dogs. That being said, there's no way they can go against UGA. They're taking Georgia at home to get it done, to knock off the number 1 team in the nation. Me, wow, what a tough pick. I've been saying for weeks that Tennessee is the best team in the nation. And I told you guys preseason they are a dark horse playoff contender. And yours truly picked them preseason to knock off Alabama. And that happened. How can I turn my back on them now? Hendon Hooker, my Heisman Trophy frontrunner. I'm taking Tennessee to pull off then what I would believe is going to be the biggest victory this season in college football. I like them to come home from Athens with the victory, with those championship and playoff hopes alive. So, little disagreement on the last 3 games there for us. So, that's it, guys. That's the end of this episode, my Week 10 preview and picks episode. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know what you think. Thank you for all that you've done for the channel and everything you will continue to do for the channel. And I ask you, Black and Gold fans, it's been a tough season for both Missouri and Iowa, but we have time to fix it, to rebound, to get to bowl eligibility. So I ask all of you, ask not what the Black and Gold can do for you, but what you can do for the black and gold? Ask yourselves that question. I expect me back. I probably will do an instant reaction episode following the Iowa at Purdue game, either Saturday evening, Sunday morning. Be looking out for that. Definitely, you can find me Tuesday for my Week 10 review and recap episode. So until then, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the beautiful weather for across most of the United States. Gorgeous weekend is on tap for us. Get out there, enjoy it. So until then, be safe, take care of yourselves, and thank you for joining me on this episode of the Touchdown Black and Gold Vlog. See ya. Bye-bye.